Hey everybody, welcome to Untapped episode 15. 15, right?
I think so.
We made it through 15 of these things? Yeah. Let's go. Episode 15, Levi Kelly, Kyle Hannon, Dana Cox of Doc's Beats. We're going to bring on Miss Teya Leonard here in a little bit as our awesome special guest today. We even got Mama Ara in the house. You want to come and say, hi, this is Chef Mama Ara. Just come on camera for a minute. No, she's being shy. Darn it, we'll get her on as a guest eventually. So, man, Levi's been busy.
Yeah, it's picking up. So now we're 7 days a week, every single day. Whew. From like, I can get there at like 10, 10:30, finish. Tomorrow I'll finish at like 4, but that'll be the latest day.
You had a long one today, right?
Yeah, that was just because of physicals, though.
Right on.
Like I was there from 10 until probably what time? 1? Yeah, 10 until 1:30. Then I had to be back at 5 for physicals.
When I say people, I did not realize. I knew baseball's a grind, 162 games plus if you go to the playoffs plus spring training, what starts this year, February 25th. And then the season starts usually like mid-April. Is that right or so?
Yeah, or late March for the big leagues. Minor leagues will start like April 6th, I think, is opening day. So
if the season usually finishes October, you really only have November, December, January off. And, I mean, that's crazy. 9 months out of the year, you're just grinding. And it's not like you're there for a little bit either. Like what time does the average player get to the field and then leave the field on a game day?
On a game day, so we'll say 7:05 start, and then it depends on what you have. I like to be there a little bit earlier than most guys.
So you get there at what, like 4?
Probably like 2. No.
2 in the afternoon.
Probably like 2 to 3 o'clock. And we'll normally have stuff around like 4 probably.
Yeah.
So I'll get there at 2. Like to do maybe a little lift or whatever before guys get there. And then we'll start like playing catch. Basically at practice at like 4. Nice. Till about 5:15, and then shower stuff, eat, chill in the clubhouse for a little bit.
What would you eat normally?
It's random. It's they try to do years past we would get Jimmy John's, wraps, like shit like that. So it's not that healthy of food. But the last year or so they've tried to like pick it up a little bit. So normally it's just a local restaurant that kind of caters.
I think the recharge center needs to get into that mix over there.
Yeah. Here we get in Scottsdale we get good food because they have chefs there.
Oh,
but once we get to the affiliate, then it's up to the clubby, which is just kind of the guy that does like booking flights and all that stuff, plus laundry, like equipment.
They don't have a designated chef then?
No. So he just orders it.
Wow.
And then he'll pick it up.
Crazy.
And then, so we'll have lunch and then post game too.
I guess it's more of an involved thing because I know the Cardinals have a chef. They have an executive chef team.
Yeah. Once you're in the big leagues, then you'll have a chef.
Oh, I got
This is in the minor leagues. Yeah.
I got you. I see what you're saying. They deserve a chef.
Some teams, like the Dodgers, they have a chef every level, but the Diamondbacks lower market. So
that makes sense. That makes sense.
What? Do you remember what it was like for like college or like LSU? Probably had like chefs for sure.
Oh yeah. They're eating
SEC,
good. Yeah. At IMG, we're eating good too.
Yeah.
Like I've been used to having somebody kind of take care of my meals since like high school because IMG, I lived there, so they had all my meals.
Do they have like protein shakes and stuff on deck for you now? Mm-hmm. Probably like just all the time.
Well, they were sponsored by Gatorade, so it was like Gatorade's protein, whatever.
It wasn't any good. No.
Just calories.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, since I was 15, so since 15, that schedule has been pretty similar. Like high school game, I'd have school until 1. I'd get to the field at 2 and kind of do whatever, hang out, get ready for the game at 7, play. That's been my schedule pretty much since I was 15.
And then even in high school, you probably finish those games fairly late, right?
Yeah, 9:30, 10:30. Yeah.
And then you got to be up for school next morning. Yeah. Right now, I know some of the players don't really get done until like 11 once they shower and everything, right? 11, 12.
Yeah. I'll get back to the house around like 11 but you can sleep in because you don't have to be at the field until like 2.
Sure.
So guys normally sleep till I like to get up early too. Most guys probably sleep until 10:30, 11. And then,
Yeah, because you get home at 11:30, but then like if it's me, if I ever get home from a job, then I got to wind down a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it takes a minute to get to sleep.
especially if I pitch, then it takes a lot longer because I'll pitch and then I have to lift right after. So maybe I don't leave until later. So if you pitch, we'll say you pitched at 8 o'clock, then you're going to lift right after. So you'll be lifting during the game.
What the? You lift after you pitch? Did you know about that, Dana?
Well, pitchers are. I mean, they're not really. They don't need the pitchers to just be hanging around necessarily.
Yeah, so they have us lift on the days that we pitch because they want your hard days to be hard and your light days to be light. So like if I pitch today, but I lift tomorrow, then I might need to pitch tomorrow as well, especially as a reliever. So they want your hard days to just be taxing, and then that way you can rest completely.
Your soreness is all out of the way in one day. Then
Right.
That makes sense.
Right.
Interesting.
There's different philosophies. So that's years past. I've changed a little bit. In 2019, I would do like my heavy stuff right after I pitch, but then I would come in the next day and do like my corrective and like light stuff. But right after I would pitch, I would do like deadlift,
Crazy.
and then dumbbell bench, maybe a heavy row or something. And then the next day I would hit like a circuit, like a mobility circuit.
That's amazing. That's got to be the only sport that does that, where you do your performance, and then you got to lift. You're going to lift weights afterwards.
Yeah,
I can't think of another sport. Not even golf would you do
You could
that.
probably get away with it in basketball, but
Maybe those games are pretty. Those games will take something out of you though. Usually, you're trying to.
I just mean just
replenish.
working out.
the turnover time is
That's
so
true.
like you play the next day. So
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be ready
Ooh, that's
the next
true.
day. Where like football, they can lift on Tuesday because they don't play again until Sunday.
That shows you the importance of lifting too, because this is what works. There's a profit margin, and they got to use what the maximal thing. This prevents injury. This is what's so necessary. That shows you how important it is to keep that weightlifting or strength training or functional training of any kind.
Yeah, normally you'll lift I'll still lift pretty heavy and stuff and pretty intense all the way until, unless my body tells me otherwise, all the way until probably, maybe like mid-August. And then especially if you're making a playoff push, then you just kind of taper off everything and you just go at that point, because your body's, after 120 games, your body's kind of starting to go south. Some guys can keep it going for the whole season, but it's rare. Normally guys like hit August and it's like, oh fuck. So then if you're still killing yourself in the weight room at that point, then you're probably not doing.
Yeah.
You want to be as ready as you can for playoffs.
Are you just maintaining then your lifts, or are you tracking like, hey,
You're just trying to maintain in August. Yeah. Some guys think maintain now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like to push until my body is like, whoa, this is a lot. But I don't know. I feel like I've trained so much now. And pitching's not that taxing on, like, it is, but it isn't. It's taxing on the arm and stuff. But
so it's not like soreness necessarily, just fatigue that might come.
Right. You'll be, I mean, for me, I'm sore like for maybe a day or two.
Yeah.
If you're sore more than 3 or 4 days, then something's probably going on.
Yeah.
Man. So what's going on in the news, Danny? Is I saw we got a new NBA dunk champion. That's kind of interesting.
Did you see any of those clips? Yeah.
Mac McClung or something like that.
Mac McClung. Yeah.
Sorry, Matt.
That is the first time they ever had somebody from the minor leagues per se, right? They call it the G League.
Do the dunk contest.
Yeah, he did it and won it. And won it. Lately, people haven't been making their first dunks, which is huge. You have to make, when you're doing your run, as they would call it, it's crucial to make the first dunk, because otherwise you miss, the judges are gonna, you get like a minute and a half or something like that. But yeah, he scored almost a 50 on every single dunk.
Damn.
I think he's the first player to have 5 or 3 50s, right?
Lisa Leslie gave him a 49. Yeah,
call it a 50.
Yeah,
They did the All-Star game and all that stuff. When was that?
That's tonight.
Tonight.
Game, yeah.
We were looking at the All-Star game. It was halftime, and the score was 99-89 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's absurd.
No defense.
Yeah, not playing any defense out there. That's an interesting thing with Mac winning the dunk contest. Is 6'2", so he's the same height as Dana, pretty much. And then a white guy. wins a dunk contest.
Yeah, I feel like
6'2".
that's a rare
Yeah.
thing for sure.
Dang. That little guy won it though. What was
Yeah,
his
Spud
Nate,
Webb.
Nate
He
Rob-
was-
you're probably thinking Nate Robinson.
Nate Robinson?
Though. Yeah,
Didn't he win it?
he won it twice.
He did.
How
And
tall is he?
He was 5'11", I think.
No,
Look it
shorter
up.
than
I
that.
think he's like
Really?
five.
Nate Robinson was, I think, 5'8".
Dang.
But I mean, Spud Webb was
Spud Webb was crazy, man. 5'5", yeah.
Yeah,
He's doing
5'9".
yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean,
Nate Robinson.
yeah,
I don't know he's that tall. That's wild.
That's funny. Is that who fought
yeah.
Jake Paul?
Oh, he got knocked out.
No. It wasn't Jake Paul, was it? Oh shit, maybe that was.
Yeah, it
was
was
it-
Jake Paul.
Was
yeah.
that his first fight against like a?
Yeah, it was.
YouTuber
Yeah, that was his
kinda- or, I
first
mean,
celebrity,
yeah, celebrity,
fight
I
thing.
should say, yeah.
That was the card of Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, I think.
That was a bad knockout.
Yeah, did you watch that one?
I don't think so.
Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. Yeah, that was
I think I
interesting.
watched. I've seen clips of it, and I watched Mike's post-fight press conference. It was just interesting to watch that compared to like when he was a killer.
Yeah,
Not that he's not a killer now, but just his mindset was a little
Tommy
different.
Fury though, that's happening, right? Tommy
We'll
Fury
see,
and Jake
yeah.
Paul.
Yeah, if he shows up.
He looks jacked.
Tommy,
Yeah.
I mean, he's lean, super lean.
I haven't seen him box much. I don't know if he's any good or
I'm pretty
not.
sure people have been saying they're about the same level.
Yeah.
So
Jake's crazy though.
yeah,
Jake's got that switch like Conor, I think, just
Yeah.
like a little bit out there.
oh yeah, we didn't talk about Conor on Tough and Mike Chandler.
Oh,
What
I
do you guys
can't
think
wait for
about that?
That's going to be so fun.
Yeah. I saw he's still not in the USADA pool. So that means he's not fighting for 6 months.
He's still on gear right now.
So because you have to be clean for 6 months, I think.
Yeah, and they hit you with a couple tests, I think, the minute you get in, right? Or something? Isn't that what they were saying?
He can probably schedule the test.
Shit.
He's making them so much money.
He only had one test in 2021.
Yeah,
And
I
he
mean,
fought Poirier that year.
he still lost though.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
I think
Never
Poirier is
know.
pissed about those two fighting, or he said something like, "This is my
My sons or something.
yeah."
right?
Something he was talking shit about them.
I mean, he's a great fighter. He's kind of boring outside of it, though. Poirier? I'm
yeah.
not really signing up to watch Poirier all the time.
Yeah, I would like to see Habib come back and fight Conor.
Oh, yeah.
Conor beats Islam, and then Habib comes back. Could you
That would
imagine?
never happen. Khabib's probably 200 pounds right now.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, how if you stay out a while, he's been out. It's been 3 years, right, since his last fight.
Habib.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Conor too.
Oh, has it been that long?
It's been 2 years at least.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, he's been out.
I was thinking that one of the guy that I remember that did that is GSP, and he came back, and that was an insane victory.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
beat who?
Bisbee?
Bisping.
Bisping.
But
At
Bisping only had
185.
one eye.
Yeah, that's right.
But GSP went up to 185. That was insane to me for his height and his frame.
Yeah. Dana was like, "You're not coming back if you're gonna leave after you win this."
That's what I was thinking, because Cejudo's been out for a minute,
Yeah.
and can you come back after being out that long? I guess GSP is a guy who kept training hard.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Cejudo's been training that hard.
He
I
said,
don't know.
"What's his face?" Demetrius Johnson's been saying that he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a bunch of guys that fight ready. Because Nico was saying that he might come and train at fight ready for a little bit.
Anything that goes against Sugar, they can all screw off.
Yeah. I'm sure Sean feels pretty confident though about the wrestling after watching like Volk do what he did against Islam. Because his
Yeah.
next two fights are either Cejudo or Sterling, and they're both insane grapplers.
Yeah, who do you think's the easier matchup? Henry or
Henry's small.
Sterling.
So what is he? 5'6", 5'7"?
Yeah.
I think he throws a head kick and Henry tries to block it, and it just fucking takes his head
I
off.
think he starches both equally in the first round.
Aljo is heavy, like
Yeah.
a lot heavier than Henry, I think. Which would matter on a wrestling standpoint. So probably an easier fight is Henry than Aljo.
Whose grappling is better between the two?
I don't
Probably
know.
Henry's, but
Yeah.
he's so small.
He's so small.
Man, Sugar's grappling is looking good, though. The way he can catch the smaller wrestlers, like in the Darce or the guillotine. Whew.
Yeah.
People haven't really seen that part of him yet. I'd love to see him.
It's not always about defending, right? Like you have to have some sort of attack on these guys in order to get them to respect you. You can't just defend.
That's true. That's what made him dangerous. I think when Jan was in his guard, he could threaten those triangles in there, being taller and everything. That's a big weapon against Cejudo, I think.
I think that's the key to beat the wrestlers is you have to throw up the attempts, but you also have to have better cardio than them because if you get tired of throwing up attempts and they still have gas, that's when they smash you. That's what happened to was it Holland that fought Chimaev?
That's right.
Yeah,
because he just ran out of juice in the scramble, it seemed like.
Yeah,
you're right. Man, I can't wait. So the little update on me is we had a great week this week.
Yeah, you seem like
it's always nice to be off chemo. Yeah, I've been off the chemo, been able to enjoy life a little bit more and have a little time to take care of stuff. We got a surgery coming up Wednesday. We got this bulky tumor in my neck here. It's gotten up to like, you got to check this out, Levi. Let's see what Levi thinks. Here, go ahead and put your hand on it. He's like, I don't know shit.
right here?
Yeah, you feel that whole lump in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Isn't that crazy? It's like a baseball.
And they don't move around.
No, they don't move around. When it gets big, like it swells, like this one's up to 4 inches, and it presses on nerves. Like I went hiking today and I ran up the mountain, and when I notice when my heart rate gets above 140, then I can feel it like pressing here. It's kind of tricky.
Does your hand tingle at all?
No, not at all. No, it hasn't. I've had tumors, let's see, in here that got into the hand, where the worst for that, the nerves have been under the arms, actually.
Yeah.
Those have been just those will get just like,
Yeah,
I think in the whole body. The other ones, when you get tumors on your kidneys on top, because lymph nodes are on top, they're not inside. So you can get tumors on top of your kidneys and your liver. And when you get them on those spots, those are said to be the most painful nerves in the body. Man, that's totally true. I've had little kidney stones and all sorts of pain, but that tumor pain, when it presses on, a nerve you got some rough ones under the arm. That's crazy. This one isn't too crazy. I rolled jits last week a couple times. Tim told me to not go with the young crazy white belts anymore, because I went with a couple, they want to roll with me. They want to pick on the older guy, I think. So I got in some scraps, and I went ahead and I used the Levi switch over from side guard to arm and head choke. Got a couple of those. I was feeling pretty good about myself, but I was in my final match, and the guy was just kind of spazzing and just going super hard as he could, like he's mad at me or something. So I go hard. I got a takedown, and this thing got all of a sudden, oh crap, and weird stuff was happening. I had to run to the bathroom and throw up, and came back kind of embarrassed and stuff. But it's the fact that I can train. I mean, I'm so grateful. I really think it's the encouragement, it's the prayers, it's the work and everything like that. But we're gonna go in and get some alleviation to this little mass growing in the neck and take out a sample to make sure it is lymphoma, because a lot popped up really quick in one area. And I think I'm going to try to continue to do the trial here. We're just going to take as long as we can off, and then we'll pop back on, give it one more run, and see how it goes.
You feel better now you would rather feel that than like go through the chemo?
It's tough because fortunately right now, I'm not experiencing acute cancer symptoms. I'm getting a little more, it's starting to creep up, like the longer it goes without the chemo. If I get acute cancer symptoms, then I'm getting fevers, night sweats. You feel really super, just a crummy, worst kind of fatigue. So those side effects, like when the chemo hits, it's like, okay, thank God. This trial one, this one I haven't been able to wrap my mind around it. Like, it doesn't give you instant relief. It kind of does some weird stuff in your body, so it's kind of doing weird things. But I really want to give it a run, just one more cycle. I think we'll give it a shot and see what happens, because it's a slow builder. And this week, coming off of it, I feel really good. So maybe it's working. We'll see what happens. Because
sometimes you said the chemo will make you feel worse, but
Yeah.
You know it's working, so it's almost a relief.
Oh yeah, I've done chemos where I was so sick and so much pain going into it, and then I get hit with a really heavy chemo and anti-nauseas, and I'm really just messed up from the nausea, but I have so much relief in the body because sometimes the chemos work almost instantly on those really hard sides. There's been people that have attempted. It's becoming less popular now, but it was a couple of years ago. People, I think right before COVID, actually, maybe a couple of years before that, were chasing the Rick Simpson oil for treatment. And I don't know for other cancers, but for blood cancers, you don't want to play around with that. We would lose people. We were starting to lose people in our Facebook group that would chase that one. But people would nobody wants to do chemo and do the medical treatment. So I'd have, I'd wrote my blog and things, and it started to catch on for a little bit. And one day I got a call from a guy in Hong Kong, a doctor in Hong Kong, and his wife had the same Hodgkin's lymphoma initial diagnosis, and she wouldn't do treatment because her family was against medical treatment. They had a witch doctor come in and was working with her. Well, he's like, Kyle, I know she's not going to make it. Can you talk to her? What can we do? And so we just developed this friendship. This guy from Hong Kong, I just happened to answer the phone and just became a friend. We're still in touch with each other. But she waited about a year and didn't do the treatment, ended up divorcing him. They said that he was, the devil and bringing her back. Well, she ended up calling from the hospital, and she was just, please give me the chemo. Please, what can I do? That, like, the feeling that you have of advancing that cancer is the worst feeling. So she ended up surviving once she got hit with chemo. But fortunately, a lot of people have died because they'll chase those remedies to not do chemo. Who wants to do that crap? You know what I mean? There's got to be a better way. No, well, you chase it, and then maybe it's too late.
Do you think there's a blend of like do that stuff and do the chemo?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The one thing is that I learned is you got to be careful too, because sometimes I ran into this the first year is I was working so hard to avoid the symptoms that it was interfering with the chemo. We still want the chemo to do its work, you know what I mean? So vitamin C is one that will actually be pretty strong to counter the effects of a lot of some of the major chemo drugs. So if you high dose vitamin C, for example, you might be interfering with what the chemo is doing on the cancer. Okay. It's kind of interesting. Or even you can get mouth sores and you can put ice into your mouth, but sometimes trying to avoid some of that, it's like, but they're becoming better and better at targeting the therapy now. So the sides are a little bit, you can deal with them a little bit easier.
Yeah. Do you see sometimes like people are doing something and you're like, you because you've been through it, it's wrong, but it's like frustrating, but you don't want to like come at them and you know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's been so hard. And then there's a really good guy that I got close with, him and his wife. His wife's an amazing caretaker involved in the whole thing, and he chased the non-medical path and ended up passing away. But it's kind of like, hey, if you want to give it a try and you really believe in it, I don't know, maybe it will work for you. This is your thing. You feel strongly about it. You've been doing this for a while, so no, I don't think you should. I wouldn't do it myself, but much love. And it's like sometimes like that placebo effect is pretty strong too. Yeah. You start believing in something, you don't want to mess with that person's belief. There's been people that have come to me like, yeah, found this concoction, this kale concoction or whatever, and it's going to cure my cancer. And man, keep doing treatment, but believe that's going to work, please.
Right. I mean, people are writing whole books about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's sections in the library for, at-home remedies for your cancer.
Yeah.
So
girls' birth control, like the last week, they just take the bullshit pill, so their body thinks nothing's different or something like that, right, Tay?
It's called the placebo, but it's technically like when you're supposed to get your.
Yeah.
We need to get Taya on.
I was gonna say
here,
we're hitting 25 minutes, so let's get Taya on here. I gotta set up the camera.
I'll be saying nothing crazy now.
Scoot over.
You don't want to expose you too much.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Levi just gets a lot of picture. All right. All set.
Right on. And now, introducing Miss Teya Leonard.
Hello.
Model.
No.
Superstar model. Yes. Marketing manager, chef, and finishing up college in psychology right now.
Not in psychology. I wish, but that's what I originally started majoring in.
Oh, okay.
I wish I would have stuck with it. I actually got talked out of majoring in psychology since everyone told me it's the number 2 major. It's going to be really hard to find a job since it's so popular. But then again, like looking back on it, there's so many different avenues of psychology that you can like dive into and focus on. So I feel like it wouldn't have been that hard if I did choose more of a focus.
Then what are you studying? I forgot.
It's called integrated studies is what FGCU calls it. So it's kind of like a generic major. And pretty much I can take any type of class under any topic that I want as long as I meet the amount of credits needed to graduate.
That's dope.
Yeah, so I can take like criminology classes, I can still take psychology classes, I can take communications classes. So I'm not limited, which I also like because I'm super indecisive.
Nice.
And choosing a major was hard for me, so
Right.
now I can just do whatever.
You're so good at analyzing people. You got that psychology, psychiatry or whatever thing going on. Have you always just kind of into studying people, sociology, psychology, that kind of thing?
I have, like, as long as I've remembered, I've wanted to major in psychology, and so I've always just had a passion for it. I've also always known myself to be very like empathic. So I tend to feel what others are feeling a lot easier, which is a blessing and a curse because if like you're crying, I'm crying right there with you, if not 10 times harder. And so it's nice because I can relate to you a lot better, but then I'm also very emotional in that aspect. So I have always liked psychology and just the studying of like human behavior, and just you can tell a lot by someone without them even saying one word to you. And that's what I like to kind of figure out and analyze on people. It's kind of weird to say.
A lot of people can't do that. They think they can know who somebody is, but they're not. I think it takes a gift to be able to read somebody like that. You kind of can get their body language. And you're so used to analyzing people all the time, you start to pick up trends in people. Yeah, body language is huge to me. I don't know why. Like, I just always watch people's body language. Even when we go to like restaurants, we call it the scoop, but we even like to like eavesdrop or try to guess what people's situations are. Just to try to, not even in a judging way, but just to try to see, not like I guess how accurate you are, but what you can come up with. So it's fun. Right. So how did you and Levi meet? So we touched on it a little bit, but we actually met back in high school. So I think it was 2016 2016. Yeah. He was going to IMG his sophomore year and then transferred to my high school his junior year, just for 1 year. I was a senior that year, and it was actually really funny because I had a guy friend who was already a baseball player on the team, and he was telling me, I have this guy that I'm gonna give him a tour of our school. He's a really cool guy. He's coming from IMG. I had no idea what IMG was at the time. And so then he showed me Levi's Instagram. And the first time I saw his Instagram, I literally told my friend, I was like, I will date that guy. I just knew it. I don't know why. I was very confident in it too, because he was like, no, you won't. And I said, watch. And then he ended up touring our school and then going to my volleyball game that night. And it wasn't even really that good. It was an awful game. Like, we won 25-0, I'm pretty sure. But then we all went out to eat that night, and he actually started hitting on my best friend at the time. So they actually kind of started talking after that night, and a few days passed by, and she was like,
He asked me on a little date tonight, but I'm so nervous. I don't want to go alone. Like, will you go with me? Kind of third wheel and just ease like the stress and anxiety. And I was like, yeah, I got you. Just trying to be a good friend. Well, that whole okay now. That whole dinner was just Levi and I talking.
Oh.
Yeah, it was kind of awkward, but at the same time, like we hit it off really well. So then from there, he ended things with her, and then it just took off from there. We only dated for about a year in high school, and then we broke up, and we've been on and off for about 7 years now. But we've been consistent this time for almost 2 years.
That's
so we're on a
amazing.
roll.
Heck yeah. Let's go. Man, and you played volleyball. When did you start playing
did.
volleyball?
It was funny. My mom and dad, they met playing volleyball. So it was like their hopes and dreams to have kids who loved the sport too, you know?
Yeah.
And so my mom put me in a volleyball camp. I did every camp, every sport under the sun. And when I was 8 years old, I remember she put me in a volleyball camp and I hated it. Absolutely hated it. I told her I never wanted to do it again. I was not going to play volleyball like that. I was miserable. And then come middle school, there was tryouts for the middle school team. And for some reason, I was like, oh, I really want to try out. So I went home. I asked my parents, I'm like, can you just show me like the basics, what I need to know going into tryouts? And they were so happy. They cracked the code. Finally, the kid loved the sport they did.
Yeah.
And so then, they taught me a little bit. And from there, I was a gym rat. I was practicing. My parents became coaches with the club team I ended up joining. So
Wow.
I was doing middle school. I was doing my travel team. I was practicing with my dad's travel team, my mom's travel team, working out with every team. I was a gym rat. And then, I
They were
fell in love with it.
Maybe not as much, but pretty close to as into volleyball as we were baseball.
Right.
Like her family was for her and her sister's volleyball.
Yeah.
Like they traveled all over the
Did they
place.
do beach volleyball?
Yes.
Hell yeah, that's
I
sweet.
love
Yeah.
beach. And it wasn't actually until my senior year that my high school added a beach volleyball team, and my dad
Nice.
was the head coach of that.
Wow.
And so that was really fun, and it was cool to at least end my senior year with that. But I definitely, and then after I graduated high school, I didn't play indoor in college. So my cousin and we just picked up beach, and we would just do tournaments for fun in the summer, and we
Nice. loved
it. Our families loved it. It was by far way better than indoor. It's harder, but way better because you're at the beach.
And that's in Florida. We don't have much of a beach volleyball scene
No,
here, do we?
you guys have a lot of beach courts here, though.
There actually is, I think, a pretty big scene here because 2 or 3 like beach volleyball people, like pros, have followed me on Instagram, and they all live in Arizona.
Wow.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
So
guy
there's got to
volleyball
be somewhere
players.
because there's a kid that I've messaged back and forth, and I think he trained at PFS before. He's in kind of the same little circle, and he lives out here, but I don't know like where they're.
It's big in Chicago for sure.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
all over Lake Michigan.
Chicago in general is a volleyball like
Yeah.
mecca.
I'll tell you
it
where
is
it's not big. It's
huge.
West Virginia.
Yeah. No. Although I have to I know a couple girls that have played
Girls
for
is-
West
there's-
Virginia
yeah.
University and Marshall, and their team at least like their college teams are decent.
Yeah.
As far as their lower level, I wouldn't say they're up to speed up there. No, but yeah, we were one big because my sisters ended up playing too. So then, it was tournament after tournament every weekend. This sister here, my parents here.
Who was the best sister?
Whew. So it's actually funny because we ended up towards the end. We were all in the same position. We all played the same position.
Which one was that?
In volleyball, it's called a setter. They say it's the quarterback of the team because the coach technically relays to you and then you relay to the team, and you do call all the plays. But it was nice to have, because then my sisters and I, we could practice together
Nice.
nonstop,
Yeah.
But then it did get very competitive sometimes.
They're close in age
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
How old's Kinsey?
She's 21, so we actually got to play together in high school for a couple of years.
21, and Malia's how old?
20.
20.
Yeah, we're really close. And I'm 23, so yeah, we're very close.
Would you get in
age.
setting wars with each other?
Yeah. We even did this one setting camp that we started off competitive with each other, and then by the end we were in so much like we've never set that many balls in our life, so our hands have never been that sore, and like we were just all three sitting there together just in pain, and like towards the end it wasn't so competitive. It was more like, all right, how can we help each other through the rest of this camp? But yeah, it definitely got competitive, and we obviously were sisters, so we got sassy with each other when we played with each other. Just your normal sister drama. And
That's must have been a blast, though.
It was. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
The two schools when I came down from IMG,
Oh yeah.
it's like the two big baseball schools. I messaged like two of my buddies, like, hey, I want to, like, should I come to your school? And then this other kid, should I come to your school? Like, oh yeah, we'll take you on a tour, whatever. But the one school I went to, they made me like take a freaking 2-hour written test, like all this bullshit. And then Vero, the Catholic school, was like, here's all the chicks.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, come to the volleyball game.
Canterbury was also like was it a kindergarten or just a middle school too?
I don't know.
Through high school. So it was kind of
I
a
think
weird
it's
setup
K
at that
through 12,
school.
yeah.
That I wouldn't, because I thought about going there too, and I don't know, I would not have wanted to
But
have
that
like
school,
middle
they're
schoolers.
really good at baseball too.
Oh,
Yeah, they're solid.
the Catholic school I went to would have thrown a academic scholarship at you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, like they didn't care. Like if
No.
they saw you played sports, they're like, come here.
I got money from the church and I'm not even Catholic.
Yeah,
Seriously.
Yeah, because if you go to a Catholic church and you go to a Catholic school, the church is supposed to give you like a little scholarship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somehow, I don't know
I
how
got a
Levi
freaking
pulled it
Catholic
off,
scholarship.
but he did get the Catholic church scholarship
Yeah.
while he
That's
was
funny.
going to Vero.
Yeah. I can't remember what I was going to say.
Did you guys go to any dances together? School
One.
dances?
Prom.
Oh,
So
Let's
he
go.
missed my senior homecoming. He came right after.
wasn't
Yeah,
there, yeah.
He didn't transfer yet. But it was fine because it was a shit show that day. I had a volleyball tournament 2 hours away that weekend, and so literally we got done. Luckily, that high school let us use their bathrooms to shower and everything. We got ready for homecoming, and we just booked it to school.
Crazy.
Yeah, but then he came, and then so we did prom.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was
Nice.
actually a blast.
We didn't do anything crazy though because
No.
we got a hotel on the beach.
Yeah, afterwards. So we went to the dance, and then we got a hotel on the beach for the night, and then just woke up and hung out at the beach and pool all day.
We didn't like party really in high school. Like randomly we would, but so every prom, my mom would always just get like hotel on the beach, which was sick.
that is,
Yeah.
yeah. We had our prom on a boat on Lake Michigan.
Oh,
and that's
wow.
like it's the shit, you know.
Mhm.
You go there, but the same thing, kind of like you're saying with the volleyball game. It's like every year we have a double header the next day for baseball.
Mhm.
So it'd be like you get done with prom and then you go and sleep at the field with all the boys and stuff. It was
That's
pretty
how
sick.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Like
Yeah.
a sleep in.
IMG homecoming was on a cruise ship, and then the prom was at the Ritz Carlton. So it was like fire.
IMG did do it up. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Just in general.
So the modeling, how did you get into that?
Oh, see, and that's why I say I'm not really a model.
Yes, she
And
is.
no, it's my cousin's actually, she doubles as my best friend because we've grown up together and we've always lived 10 minutes away from each other, and obviously we're family, so
Yeah.
we're always gonna love each other. But she doubles as my best friend. But in 2017, I think it was, her and her sister decided to start their own business. And at first it started off as bathing suits, and then it grew into more of like a boutique where they added clothes and bathing suits. And then unfortunately all their inventory got wiped out recently by Hurricane Ian. So then they had to just revamp, restart, and now they're just sticking to bathing suits, trying to
Wow.
minimize all their stresses this time around. But that's kind of how it started. Was they started their business, they needed people to help wear their stuff and take photos and product photos, and so I was obviously right there and I was like, yeah, I'll help out.
Nice.
You know, I would help him out regardless if, you know, even if I wasn't
Do you
decent
enjoy
looking.
that work?
I do. I honestly do. And even now it's been hard like living here because one, it's been cold here. So seeing them at the beach doing the photo shoots, I'm like, I want to be at the beach so bad right now. And then two, like just seeing them do the photo shoots, I'm like, wow, I do miss it.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like, I don't know. It's weird because it's not as consistent. Like I wouldn't have a shoot every week, you know. It's
right.
It's kind of just depended on when they had stuff in.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get back to it whenever I'm down there and visit.
Yeah.
I think I think we should get something going with the recharge center. I think that's the way to go.
Start promoting me in front of the food. No.
The meal in that ass.
Oh my God. No.
So Teya has been a huge asset to the recharge center. You started working here when and
I started for like a week or two, maybe in December, and then we left for Christmas break
and the hurricane stuff too.
Yeah, and then we came back, and so I would say I really started in like January.
Oh man, it's been awesome.
Like solid.
We've been growing super fast. The business, we do meal prep. Well, probably most people watching know, but after we got mentioned on the Joe Rogan show, it just seemed we didn't even have to try, and it's just been growing. We've been getting people signing up to our monthly plan, got a website going, but I really think a huge thing has been having you work here. I mean, people want to come in here to pick up their stuff so they can talk to and she's so good with people. She's probably like our marketing manager or whatever here, and she's been training with Mama Ara too in the kitchen, and they've been working in there, man. We've been making like 150 meals or so, 140 meals in one day, and it's pretty much these two and her sister Gracial, but you're starting to get some cooking in too, right?
I am.
You got one coming up tomorrow, right?
I do, yeah. That's my go-to meal here.
Heck yeah.
So I do cook that one, but Ara's been trying to teach me a little here and there on like how to make her meals and what she does, her little secret sauce and
right.
everything. She
translate into home though.
Well, we get the meals here, so there's no point. We're already eating this food, you know.
That's
I don't have to cook at home.
So I like to, she gets mad because I like to eat them out of the bowl. She wants to give it to me on a plate. I'm like, no, I want a recharge bowl here, man.
Straight out of the to-go
like that. I feel like
it's wonderful.
It is, even because with his lifestyle, we're so on the go.
Oh yeah.
And so even just being able to grab it, have that to-go fork too, just scarf it down real quick and just throw it all away. Like you don't have.
I'm gonna be lost during the season. No food. I'm gonna have to actually cook.
Man, oh man.
That's when I'm gonna have to step in a little bit.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I've known Ara for 3 years now, and I haven't seen her ever let anybody help in the kitchen. So that's actually,
you are right on the money. Yeah, it was.
Even still with like dishes and stuff, she's like a powerhouse.
Yeah.
She's like, I got it.
I know.
Yeah.
I was so grateful that worked out because man, that's a hard one. We do have a Filipino connection too, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of why I was like, hell yeah, I'll work here. Obviously, I wanted to help in any which way, and we would hang out here all the time anyway. So we're just like, why not work? But Miss Ara is a Filipina lady, straight from the Filipino island, and I'm 50% Filipino, and so right away we obviously bonded on that, and it's been really cool, especially for her to teach me and show me how she makes like her authentic Filipino dishes. And kind of, it's weird because like she'll ask me if I've tried things, and some things I obviously haven't, and some things I have, but I just I either have no name for it or a different name, and she's just like, what? And then we figure it out, and then we're like, oh yeah. So it's like we kind of it's fun to figure things out like that. So
that's so cool.
It's been neat,
man. And I know she's had a blast. You guys have had a blast back there. She said I laughed so hard today. Sometimes
we do a little more talking than cooking, but it always gets done. It always gets done, so that's what matters.
Heck yeah. And no, it's long days. Our Mondays and Thursdays are super long days in here. You guys go hard those days.
Ours the crazy one though. She's the one that wakes up at the crack of dawn to start. I don't know how she does it.
Yeah, we got
The real trooper.
Yeah, we're gonna. She's starting to cut back a little bit. She's realizing you just can't.
We're kind of figuring out a little schedule here.
There you go. You can't wake up at 3 and then work until 9 the night, and just be okay. That takes something out of you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if I could stay up for that long.
Not me.
I've turned into such a grandma at the age of 23.
Last night we stayed up till 1 a.m.
We did. That was a record.
When did you wake up then?
I woke up at 6:30 actually.
7 something.
It was pretty early.
Dude, I felt good at the field too.
Nice.
But
Sometimes a body kind of needs that. Just to
Yeah.
have
we went to
like
a
a-
casino.
Oh.
I was dude, we got rowdy. No.
I've never
We didn't
seen the
drink or anything,
casino that busy.
Dude, the casino is so
Which
packed.
one?
It
you go
was
to?
jam-packed. Talking Stick.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they're remodeling it right now too. Aren't they?
Yeah, we went to eat with some of the players, and then they were like, "Let's go to the casino." And I'm like, "Fuck!" And we just got meal money. So when we get meal money, it's like feels like it's just
'Cause
cash. So it's
straight
already out of
cash,
your account and whatever.
What'd
so
you
we
play? Did you play some?
Play blackjack for
Oh,
like
yeah.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Dude, I was all the way. So I put in 300, was all the way down, had no more chips. I had one chip out. So down to 25, and I got all the way back up to like 450. And then I ended up I was up like $50 and we left.
That's sick though. How much are the tables there?
25. Yeah,
Damn.
most of them are
Yeah.
25. There were a couple 15, but they were already filled.
That's
I know.
I mean, it
I didn't
was
want to play with that much. I only wanted to do 2, but then it's like at $25 tables, if you lose a couple hands, you're already out. So
Yeah.
you might as well. Like if you're gonna play,
one of the girlfriends we went with, she only did 100, and she ended up
She doubled it
doubling
quick and got
hers.
out.
Yeah, she's like, I'm done. She's like, I
Yeah.
doubled mine. I'm out.
dude, I've seen kids play like $500 war, like just highest
Yeah.
card right there, and $500, boom, highest card, and they just run it up like that.
No.
See, that stuff gives me anxiety. Like even watching him, I'm like, I'm starting to sweat. I'm like, is he making the right decision? I can't. I don't think I'd ever turn into a gambler just because
No.
it would give me such anxiety.
Kids, there was a kid, I'm not going to say his name, but I think this was in 2019. Actually, I got 2 stories. 2019, a kid went up $20,000, lost that $20,000, and went down an additional $10,000.
Of his an extra, yeah.
So a
his own.
$30,000 swing in like a matter of a couple days.
Jesus.
Man.
Another kid, this kid actually went to IMG too. I'm not going to say his name either. But so if you're going to IMG, you probably have a little bit of money because the school's expensive. Unless you're on full scholarship or financial aid, whatever. But this kid, he was doing fine, and got addicted to gambling, got drafted, gambled all of his money away. He bought this camper, gambled that thing away, and then in this was 2021, he stole his roommate's debit card in the middle of the night and went to the casino and lost like $1,500. They arrested the kid.
Wowzers.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. He got released, but if you're that
It's
addicted
so
where you're
sad,
like
yeah.
gambling everything away, but you see people in there. That place was packed last
yeah.
night. Like,
Yeah, my
And
roommate.
it's so hard to stop. You're so stimulated. All the noises, the
Yeah.
lights.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, you don't get tired in there.
no.
Like you can stay in that thing all night. You don't get tired because of all the lights, and I think they pump oxygen in there.
Wow.
It's cool. It's very cold in there usually.
Yeah, bro, you ain't getting sleepy in a casino.
Yeah, no.
They got it dialed in.
Yeah. Have you been to Vegas? Yeah. No.
I don't really like to gamble. I'll probably gamble like 4 times a year.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's fun.
Yeah, and normally it's with like $200. If I win, then I'll go back the next day. I'll keep going back until I lose, and then, or I'll keep going back until I lose, or I win a substantial amount where it's like, okay, now
I got my fix.
I want to go
yeah.
buy something cool now.
You're quiet over there, Kyle. You got some dark history with it?
He's like, I gamble every night.
I think it's because I suck at it. I I can't get into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because every time I play, I just lose my money.
And then you get pissed off. Yeah.
That's what
It's just not what I want to look forward to.
for me, I'll do it more just as like to be with the guys, because I don't want to go.
hangout.
I'd rather go to the casino than go to a club.
Yeah.
And but to me, if I lose $100, I'm gonna be pissed off, because I'm not only did I lose $100, but like I lost. I'm super competitive.
Yeah.
But if I win $100, like that gets me like a tank of gas and a meal. Like that doesn't really. So the win loss, like what it does for my mood is just they don't equal. So there's just no point to go.
Yeah.
If I just go there, we stop. If I go with Ara and we're just running through real quick, I can have a good time in those places. But if anybody's invited me there before, usually somebody that invites you, they like it.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
intense.
And they'll
like,
stay, and they're
That's the
like,
problem, you get
don't
stuck
mess
there.
with me. Don't. They're like, don't. You're gonna ruin my flow right now. And then the next thing you know, it's 6 in the morning. I remember last time I did that, I went to sleep in the car. I was like,
I'm
was
outta
in a
here.
situation,
No way.
was, where I couldn't get out of it, and it was like, oh man.
Yeah.
those are the worst.
Even last night, normally if I get up, then I give her the profit,
Yeah.
so that way she keeps what I started with, so that way
Yeah.
I'm only
Yeah.
playing with profit.
Smart.
So even last night, like once I got my $300 back, I gave it all to her, and I was up probably like 150, and I was ready to roll. But my buddy, he was trying to get his money back, so I just was like, I'll play with my profit until he is ready to roll.
It's different in Vegas because you get free drinks. At Talking Stick,
Ooh.
you have to pay.
Yeah.
But if most of the casinos in Vegas are, you play, they're bringing you drinks. And I was wasted one time and accidentally max bet $300 on a blackjack machine and hit.
Ooh.
But it's
Oh.
I mean, it's dangerous in Vegas because
Dude,
of the
people
drinks.
lose their
I
whole
bet.
life
Oh yeah.
gambling.
I know we're
That's a
going to
bad
Vegas
thing.
for we're trying to, at least my youngest sister's 21st, because she's like the baby of all of our
Nice.
family friends. So we're just like, let's do it up with a
That'll be
bang for
fun.
the last child.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm excited. I've been to Vegas, but it was for a camp.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to, I stayed on University of Nevada's campus, and like I didn't get to leave much, but I want to experience.
Plus AAA,
the
they play
Strip
Vegas.
and-
Our
I
AAA,
know they're
we
in
play
Reno.
Vegas, and it's a sick resort supposedly they stay at, so that'll be good.
And I was telling the girls, I'm like, well, I hope Levi just gets the freaking AAA this year then. At least for a little bit,
And AAA, you fly, you don't bus.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
40-minute
Yeah.
up and down.
Yep.
That's
Instead of a 16-hour
Yeah.
drive.
Yeah.
Have you been to Reno before?
No.
Reno?
Yeah, I've been through there.
Is it
Yeah.
nice or no?
I don't think you'll like it.
No. Last year, the girls said it was like snowing during season. It was
I
cold
guess
still.
some of those snows can be kind of pretty, but the town is it's a lot of stuck in the town type of thinking, and it's a small town with a
Yeah.
casino, and that's all it is out there. So you got casino life, you got some drug life out there. It's just not it's not a Levi place, I don't think.
Not
Some
an
sovereign
all-around good
citizens.
environment.
There's not a lot of exercise going on out there and things, not a lot of healthiness.
Yeah.
Do they have casinos in Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have like the Hard Rocks in Tampa and Miami. We have the Seminole Hard Rock in.
They're not as nice as these, though.
No.
These are nicer than the Florida
No.
ones.
And the ones in Florida you usually can smoke. So like that's the one where I passed out in. With
That was, what,
Him.
2 years ago?
2020.
Yeah.
I think your birthday.
I was losing. She passed out, and then I won like 12 hands in a row.
Oh my gosh.
Dude,
Crazy
but she
story.
was literally out, like,
At the table?
yeah.
Yeah.
And they're
Well,
playing.
usually I just stand behind him
Wowzers.
usually because I do feel bad if I'm like trying to take a seat from
Yeah.
someone who wants to play. So I was standing behind him, and it was just a mix of everything, like all the smoke. I hadn't really eaten in a little while, and it was just a lot. And then I could feel myself. I was like, this is not good. So I told him, I'm like, I'm not feeling good. And I do feel bad because he was stuck like in the middle of a play.
I'm like, I got
and
18.
I'm about,
I don't know what
right,
you want
I'm
me to
about to
do.
go down. And I just went down. And that's when he like stopped. And no one was really helping like
Yeah.
at all. But then I finally like came to and I was fine. And then, yeah, he started going up.
Yeah. Dude, they were getting
after
mad.
that.
I'm like holding her, like, I need help. Like, get a paramedic. Because she's like out cold. And they're like mad that I'm not playing my hand. I'm like, no, I need help. She's like literally dead in my arms.
They just want their money, you know?
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what is a time, Miss Teya, that you had to go into the Untapped, like a really tough time?
Oh gosh.
She has to get in the ice bath.
Yeah, that's definitely tough. But probably I would say mine's gonna be probably like more emotionally.
Yeah.
It would probably have to be when I graduated high school. Well, in the spring semester of my senior year was when I finally realized I was burnt out of volleyball and I didn't want to play in college. And also it's a lot harder for volleyball because once you're done with college, unless you play pro, and usually you play pro in other countries,
Sure.
that's it. You know, college is the end. So it's like, all right, why waste my 4 years committed to something that's going to end when I can like live out my college experience?
Sure.
And I just had and that's the other thing, awful coaches can really ruin like someone's love and passion for a game.
Absolutely.
And will lead you to burnout.
Yeah.
Because I've had awful coaches. I've had amazing ones, but I've had those few that really just did it in for me. So I told my parents in the beginning of spring that I didn't want to commit and I didn't want to play in college. And that obviously broke their hearts.
Right.
And so they're like, no, we still want you to try and play. And so I was not into it. I didn't try to apply to any colleges or reach out to any coaches. Like, I wasn't invested. But then my parents wanted me to commit to this JUCO that he actually now goes to. Well, he does this online. Hillsborough Community College in Tampa. And so I committed there just to make my parents happy. And I remember actually the day I called the coach, the night I called the coach and said, yes, I'll commit to your school. I called him right after and I was bawling. Not happy tears like it should be. I was like miserably crying because I was like, I know it's not what I want, but I know it's like what will make my parents happy. So it's a weird situation.
Yeah.
So I signed, and then I actually ended up moving up there into my apartment, started practices. Yeah.
Wow.
I was there for 5 days, so a solid freaking 5 days. And then I was like, I was crying after every practice.
Oof.
I was crying myself to sleep every night. I was literally going into a dark hole. So I was I either need to get myself out of it and stick up to my parents, because I'm like I said, I'm an empath, so I will make people happy way faster than I'll make myself happy.
Right.
So I was like, I got to that point where I was like, I can't make my parents happier than myself anymore.
Yeah.
So I called my dad and I said, I'm so sorry. I know this is like your guys' dream and passion for me, but I can't do it. And like, I'm quitting. And then they kind of like, they weren't too happy. And the next morning I went in, told the coaches, and they were actually pretty nice about it. And so I packed up my car and I went back home. And since my parents weren't too happy, I went straight to Levi's house. And I stayed there for a few days because, like I said, they were not happy at all. Yeah. And then it finally got to the point where I was like, well, I'm in the same city as my parents. I'm either going to talk to my parents or we're just never going to talk but see each other. So we finally had a sit down talk and we let it all out. And yeah, ever since then, we got over it. But my mom still makes comments like, oh, I wish I could still watch you play. I miss watching you, blah, blah, blah. But I know it's just, like, I understand. It was also a full ride that I gave up.
I understand.
It was a tough decision, but
you kept playing with your sisters,
yes,
right? Yeah. And I really feel with something like that, it's got to be tough. As a parent, you spend a lot of time, you put a lot of time and energy to it,
yeah.
But look at what came out of it. That's what I feel like is when you get really good, when you develop a skill, and the hours that go into high school volleyball is insane. I mean, you build that up, and then you got to the point where you're good enough, obviously put in a ton of time year round, most likely, to get into a college and get a scholarship. But look what, now you understand Levi on another level people wouldn't. You have the skill set for the rest of your life. Who knows? Maybe you'll go, you've been training pretty hard over at OPT. Who knows? You might step up into some sand volleyball and just kick ass in a tournament. It's a skill set to coach in the future. There's so many things you can do with that. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, and everyone always asks like if I regret that decision, and at the end of the day, like as much as I miss playing competitively, I don't regret the decision. As hard as it was and as emotional as it was and as tough as it was on my family and my relationship with my parents and just like the distance it kind of gave us in that time, I don't regret that decision because it gave me more freedom. I got to play then whenever I wanted, like for my own joy.
There you go.
And then my dad, like I said, was the high school coach for my high school after I graduated. So I ended up, my sisters were still there. I practiced with them all the time. I even became my dad's assistant a couple of years ago for his last year of coaching. So
look at that, what developed out of that. You got to have more time with the whole family. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I don't regret it at all.
That's pretty cool that you were able to kind of give yourself a self-analysis without that going into a darker hole, because catching that sooner than later, that would have made it harder to climb out of just for yourself, but also to get out of the situation with your parents. Now you're more invested in the scholarship and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. That's a pretty bold move to pop out of that.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally the hardest decision I've ever had to make. And my parents were so crushed. And, you never want to disappoint your parents. I think we've talked a lot about that. And just like, that's probably the hardest thing on a kid is like disappointing your parents.
Yeah.
And so that was the last thing I wanted to do. But at the end of the day, I'd already made so many sacrifices throughout so many years for other people, and not even just my parents, but just other people in general, that I think I got so fed up with it at that point that it was like my breaking point, where it was like, I'm either going to fall more into it or I'm going to turn my own life around, like take it into my hands.
Nice. That's really good I think there's a lot of people struggling with that at a lot of different ages right now. I mean, and you can, that applies to a work situation. I know so many people have been stuck in a job they're just miserable with for years.
Like a cycle,
they're in this horrible cycle of driving in traffic to work, to a job they don't want to go to. The stress is building, their health's declining. They don't have another, start to temporarily fix it with other things. And there's so many people in that route. And to think about, really sometimes you gotta go against, you gotta make it uncomfortable for a minute. You gotta take self-analysis of your own health and just know that, hey, you're gonna be okay. We live in a place where there's a lot of opportunity here, you know what I mean? And reducing that stress when you're in that kind of rut sort of deal, the more you let it go, you're just going to make it harder for your life. That risk of stepping out and doing something that you want to do, that you're going to fit with it. Maybe you have gifts that aren't being utilized. Once you start getting those gifts out, and as a God guy, I really think that God wants us in a certain spot. So, we may be miserable because we're not looking to God. We're not looking to those amazing plans that he has right around the corner for us, sort of thing. We can't see it yet. We can't even imagine what might be up ahead, but you get bad news or something, or you have to make a tough decision. But a lot of time when you're looking to God and it's a healthy choice for yourself, even if you don't believe in God, you're that freedom to choose for yourself. It's going to be better at the end of the channel if you keep working.
Yeah.
I think if you just listen to like your intuition and just follow that, then you're going to be in a pretty good spot.
Your gut. It's so hard sometimes because like it's hard to get your gut and like maybe anxiety or nerves mistaken for each other.
Wow.
But sometimes like those gut feelings, like deep down, it's like, no, this is point blank what needs to be done. So
I was saying at the field the other day, we were talking about like anxiety, and I'm like, 10 years ago it was just you were nervous.
Yeah.
Now today it's anxiety. It was crazy.
There's a lot of women your age or younger, that I think that anxiety levels are growing more than ever before. What advice do you have to people out there? There's so many people struggling with the worst anxiety.
Actually, like my youngest sister kind of went through a little situation, not to throw you under the bus if you watch this, Malia. But she went through a little situation recently, and it's always, I'm the big sister, and usually I even told him, I'm like, I went through all my shit so that way my sisters would learn from me and wouldn't have to go through all the hard shit.
Right.
And yet here she is still going through it, and I'm like, how did that happen, Yeah. And Levi even told me, he was like, well, you had to go through it so that way now you can lead her through it. It's not so that way she can learn from you. It's that way you can lead her through it. And she did. She really needed me to like help her, guide her through her anxiety and her depression. And she even calls me all the time, and we said, you're going to turn into a yogi, Malia. And she loves yoga now. So like yoga is obviously huge. Yeah. Obviously all of this takes consistency, so it's not going to happen overnight. And even Malia struggled with that. Like she wanted quick answers. Yeah. And I was like, that's not how you're going to fix anything, especially like deep down if you want to fix emotional trauma or anything like that. So yoga, journaling has been my number one go-to. If I can recommend anything, it's journaling. I've been journaling for years. And that has been the biggest life changer for me, especially for such an emotional person who can't let out, your emotions constantly to someone, because you'll just sound you'll just sound like a burden and crazy. Journaling has been a lifesaver. So if you guys take anything, it's journaling. I even started meditating, I would say about a year ago now. Okay. And I even have used this app called Insight Timer. It's a meditation app, and it's really cool. It gives you quotes. You can choose any length of meditation. You can do like sleep ones. It even has some yoga. And so that's what I've been using to just do my everyday meditations. Nice. And then obviously the ice and sauna have been tremendous for my health on all levels, as much as they suck and as much as I don't want to admit that they're good for you, so that way I don't have to do them constantly. But if you can get your hands on a sauna and ice bath, do it, because the more you do that, like he even said that he wants me to do it because he's seen the changes it's made in his life, and he obviously wants that for me. And so that's kind of like also what inspired me to get into it, seeing him and how much he's changed as a person. I mean, I've known him for 7 years now, and he's been 10 different people. And so like he's changed so much as a human being, and that has a lot to do with the work that he's done on his emotional and like mental side. So
that's beautiful. And props to your sister for being in a rough rut, and then she took that action to get out of it. And sometimes that action sometimes is all it takes, jumping out and taking a little risk, little action, because then you build momentum. Once you get momentum going, and then you apply consistency, what you guys are talking about, then you can start to form a habit. And then if you're doing something like that and you're being consistent in a dream or something that you're really passionate about, when you build that habit up in there, that's a really rewarding feeling.
Yeah. She's so popping off now, living her life. Yeah. Hey.
I think what happens, like the calls though, is like isolation. Like, especially with the phone, we don't have to be around each other to talk. Good word. So we can stay isolated. So I think her making the leap of faith to like go to yoga and be around people and do something quote unquote difficult. But in kind of a community like that is super powerful as well, I think.
Well, and it's also like, because she's never really ever been the one to ask for help. And so when she called me and was like, I need you, I knew it was serious. But I the first thing I told her was like, I'm proud of you for having the strength, to finally say like, I need help. And like, because a lot of people are scared to ask for help when really it's literally anyone is willing to help you. You're just assuming they're not. And if you just ask them like, hey, I need you, they're 9 out of 10 times they're going to be there for you.
And you end up blessing others too.
Yeah.
When that person helps you and they're a kind person and they it's like, I think a lot of people want to help. It feels so good. It's something that I feel is so important to my battle against cancer. I don't think I'd be alive if I didn't practice that principle. As somebody asks for help, I get blessed when I get to give help. Hey, you're going to be okay. You're going to get through this. It's a good feeling. So I think it's really common when you're going through something, no matter what it is. I don't want to burden people. I don't want to reach out. I'm just going to stay in this. It's real. We get in this set of hopelessness, sort of, where we just we can't see in time. It just goes going slow, and it's a horrible thing. But we make that move to reach out. It's always rewarding every time.
Yeah, I think it's just as, if not more, rewarding for the person that helps you. Like the book I'm reading right now is talking about how you can't reach true fulfillment unless you're in service of others.
True.
Like trying to get fulfillment with just yourself, like, oh, if I get this much money, or if I get this car,
Like being
or
selfish.
if I wear these clothes, or if I go on this vacation, like that stuff it's going to make you happy for like a short amount of time, but it's a candle that what's the saying? It's a candle that like lights high, but then burns out quick. Where like fulfillment and service of others is a candle that's going to burn forever. Like if you're helping others and you can see the impact you're playing on, like almost here, like the family, the culture of this community.
Right.
If you impact that, then to me, that's when you're going to reach like a true, like, holy shit, I made an impact to this whole community.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. Jesus said, self-help is no help is all. What good does it do if you gain everything you wanted in the world, but you're going to end up losing yourself if you're just focused on helping yourself? You got to reach out. You got to love one another. I think you got to you got to take those actions. And we've all been there. That's what happens a lot of times. I think we all get a flavor of it. You can't avoid it when you go into the Untapped. Every human has gotten in a little bit into that Untapped, and immediately we just want to isolate ourselves, like Levi was saying, and it's hard to climb out of that. Yeah, that's good stuff.
I wonder though, like, why that's our first reaction.
Probably fear.
Did we learn that though, or is it like just what humans have always kind of felt the need to do?
Probably because they don't want to be embarrassed, so they'd rather just like
hide.
I heard a good thing, or thing that I don't know if it's good, but it hit me, is that if the devil is real and his goal is to destroy good, then his goal would be to have us. His ultimate goal would be to have us, each of us, to kill ourselves, because that would be the ultimate. We're choosing to end our own life. Our ultimate rebellion against God would be to kill yourself. So to get to that point of killing yourself, you got to go down that road of being isolated. That's kind of where we go a little bit when you get into that trial or that untapped place. I think every person starts to think a little bit about death and life in that zone, and if there's lies that are being whispered at you to try to take you down that tunnel, if that's all real, then that could be part of what's going on. I don't know. Right.
I feel like people with like God in their life too, it's not as common to be like, if somebody's a true firm believer in like a higher power, they're typically like bright and kind of uplifting, or like my mom says she can almost see at work who believes in God and who doesn't, just by talking to him. Like they're not even talking about religion, but she can just see
yes. Yeah. I think a lot of times the further you go through trials and the more people you see, God starts to give you some discernment in people, what you see. Yeah. It's hard for me sometimes because I've been at it such a deep level for so long, and I got a lot to learn, and I know maybe my thinking could potentially be off, but sometimes I go into church and I can see, it's like, oh man, I don't want to see. I can see with no, don't show me this, because I've been just as broken, but I'm seeing this, you know what I mean? It's like, no.
Like it was almost better with the unknown.
Yeah, there you go.
Than it is now knowing, but then again, true. It's like a good thing too.
What do you got, Dana? We got to wrap up pretty soon. We're going.
No.
We're going
I got
to
a pitch tomorrow.
No, I feel like I can
Big day
wait.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Game day tomorrow.
Hour and 15 almost. The only thing I got to say about anything is I was reading what is it, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. He was saying the things we resist the most are the things we need to run full head of steam
Yeah.
into, you know.
Wow.
Kind of going back
Fear.
into sometimes like intuition makes it sound like nice and pretty, like follow your intuition, but a lot of times it's like the fear things, the
So
resistance that you need to
Right.
run into.
Darn it! What did you tell me of that? Now I got to go against that thing I didn't want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
it.
it's pretty much
Good
like face your
stuff.
fear.
That's
Good to go.
beautiful. Hey, well, I think that's all we got. Thanks so much,
It's a
Miss
wrap.
Teya.
Thank
So
you,
fun to have you.
guys.
We'll have to check in with you every so often, and
Yeah,
we gotta
our
get,
own.
maybe we
Next,
gotta
yeah,
get
next is Mama Ara.
Chef Mama Ara, get the two of you on here getting silly, like having
She's
a fun
over there.
time. Well, this has been a blast. Everybody, thanks for watching. Have the best week ever.
Adios.